Welcome to the ISO, the Gonzaga Nation Media Network. We preview the upcoming Gonzaga game tonight against the Portland Pilots, sitting at 9-10 with second-year head coach Shantay Legans. Shantay, thanks for joining.
Oh, of course, man. Thanks for having me. Always fun to be on with you.
Well, it's always good to talk basketball with you. I love your
Yeah.
outlook. I love your perspective. I really like how your teams play. You guys kind of burst onto the scene early this year in the PK 85. Even though you went two in the tournament, you gave North Carolina a scare, you beat Villanova, and you gave Michigan State a scare. First
Yeah.
off, how fun was that to compete at the high level like that tournament was? And then did that change expectations at all for your program early this season?
Well, it changed expectations in the view of people from the outside. We think we think we're a really good team. Inside that locker room, we think we can play and compete with anybody. I mean, that's what you're supposed to. That's the mindset you're supposed to have. So, some people from the outside, oh, that's look what they can do. But like you said, we went 1-2, and so it's tough when you play well and then you lose, but then you hear people talk really good about you guys. So I think that was one of the things I had to manage early. As the guys getting a little bit of good feedback for losing. Oh, you did great. You're going to do this, that. And so that was kind of a tough deal. And then being able to compete with those teams. I mean, as a player, those are the games you always want to play. You're not looking forward, and I'm not, saying, you're not looking forward to playing a non-D1, or you're not looking forward to playing somebody, who's in a lower league than yourself or anything like that. You're looking to play against the best and see what you can do constantly. Coaches are the same, and so that was really exciting. I was happy for my players that they had that opportunity. And I was really thrilled with the way that they came out and played. They played hard, and so that was my thing. Can you come out and compete against the best? Can you come out and compete against really good, talented players that, especially teams trying to find themselves early? Can you do that? And so I thought we did that well. And then, then our season started a little bit, and we started trying to handle adversity with injuries and things like that. And haven't really played up to the expectations that people had for us, or even our expectations, since, the beginning of the season, just due to, some things you can't handle.
So, Coach,
Right.
you mentioned, a little bit of expectation change from outsiders after that weekend. But I think
Yeah.
when I look at your kind of inconsistencies, most of it from what I see has been due to injuries. It hasn't been one guy missing a long extended stretch, except for maybe Mike Meadows. But you've had guys miss
Yeah.
one game here, two games there. How has that been difficult for you guys to manage?
It's been difficult because when you're like, I wouldn't say infant stages of building a program, but when you're trying to build, from the ground up, you lose a guy like Moses Wood, who's 6'8" and can guard any position, and then he's our leading rebounder, and we put him on other team's best perimeter player more times than not, and he stretches the floor and he can create his own shot. We don't have a guy right now that we could bring him from behind and say, hey, we do have a guy you can plug in and say, hey, here's 12 minutes while he sits out for his 28, or we can sub people in. But when you're relying on that, and so many people just see the game, but it's practice he's missing. It changes the way we practice. It changes the intensity of practice sometimes. It changes just the feel you got when you're on the floor, and then you lose Tyler, who's our do-it-all guy, and he misses some games, especially in conference play. You rely on him so much. When we were playing LMU, he got hurt in the game, and coaches won't admit it, but I'll tell you, I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for Tyler, falling off and not having Tyler and Moses in the game. We were prepared for Moses because he's been sitting out the last three games or two games before that. But I wasn't prepared for Tyler going out. You can prepare for everything, and coaches should be prepared. But I'll be honest. When he went down, I was like, oh man, all right, this is what we're going to do. And we start building things together. That's something that I've now experienced, and so I'll be prepared better for it next time. But I wasn't ready for that. Neither were the players. He hasn't missed anything. He's made practices and different things like that. Now you're playing your league games without your leading rebounders, 1 and 2, your leading scorers, 1 and 2, the guys that are probably your best defenders. So you lose those two guys, and then Tyler just knows everything. He plays the game and he gets people shots. He's leading the league in assists, or he's in the top 15 in the country in most assists. And even missing games, he's still in the top 15. And so That's tough. And so you got to figure out back. Everybody goes through it, but it's sometimes hard when you lose your 1-2 punch,
Yeah.
offensively and defensively. And so, as we keep going and we, get this depth thing rolling and we get our program rolling, we're going to be okay. I think we have a good base to it. You're not prepared for that sometimes. And in that game against LMU, I wasn't prepared. After that, I think we battled a little bit better, and then we bring Tyler back against St. Mary's. He was going to play that game with no leg if he had to. It's back home at St. Mary's. All the Australians and the St. Mary's connection. He was playing that game no matter what. So he played a little injured. Mike played injured, and then we didn't have Mike. Mike wanted to play. We didn't have all our players, firing at 100. They just wanted to be out there for their team, and it got away from us quickly, fast, and in a hurry. And so we got some guys back. Moses was ready to come back for that last game against San Francisco, and now we got some guys back for tonight's game.
So you're getting guys back. You're sitting at 1-4. You got a good win against San Francisco the other day. You're at Gonzaga tonight, and then you have the rest of the league. It's important to kind of try to creep into the middle of the pack so you don't have to play early in the WCC conference tournament. Do you guys as a coach keep those inner goals to yourself? Do you share it with your team? How do you kind of navigate the mid stretch of league play, knowing that you've got some great opportunities in front of you?
Well, guys aren't as dumb as I was in college, so I just didn't have any idea about the seedings and the things like that. Our guys know things like that now. It pops up on their social media constantly. They update them. They have friends that know. I was when I you probably thought the same way. You keep winning, you'll be okay. And so,
Yeah.
but now they put a little pressure on themselves, so they know. So we talk about it. I think right now we're 1-3. We get tonight with 2-3. We got 3 home games or 2 home games, and then we go to LMU. So we understand what we're trying to do. And then you lose the night, you're 1-4. I think you're 1-4, and then if you got 2 home games, go 2-3, then you play LMU, who's beaten you already. So now you're back to 500. I think being where you need to be is one of the things where it's really important that you keep fighting for seeding. You keep fighting to get, you want to have the best record you could possibly have for all the scenarios at the end of the year. And, we do feel like at healthy, we can compete with anybody in the league. And, I do think even with some injuries, we can compete with all these teams. I know there's 2 really good teams right now at the top, St. Mary's and Gonzaga. And so we've played St. Mary's, and they took us to the woodshed pretty much. And now we're playing against the best team in the league, and Gonzaga, at least with the most talent. And so now we want to see where we stand with them. And last year they beat us by 30. And so we're trying to start competing with these teams, and we have to. And that's something that our university and our program wants to start doing, competing at the highest level in the league.
So tonight's the game against Gonzaga. Lots of different teams have took them down to the wire in league to start. I mean, Gonzaga's had to pull out big time moments from 3 different guys on 3 different road trip games.
Mm-hmm.
So they finally have a home game. When you look at what USF, Santa Clara, and BYU did, do you take a mix of their game plans and put it to yours, or do you have kind of philosophy in things that you've put in place from the start of the season for you guys that you feel are going to work?
Well, every game is different. Every team's different. They have different personnel, but you do take pieces of every game you watch and you put into your game plan, and you go from there. It's a quick turnaround from a Thursday, Saturday game. But we have coaches who look ahead or who have that scout or whatever, and they start scouting the game and putting together a game plan, and we look at it and we try to figure out what's going to work best for us. And San Francisco has 7'3" guys that they can throw on Timmy and throw some double teams out there. Santa Clara is very physical and plays a different kind of game, and they have physical guards and strong guards that can push guys out and play a little bit more physical. And you can watch that game. They're down there clawing and scrapping with Timmy and making sure they get back out the shooters. And then you get BYU, and that's a game where BYU hit shots. I mean, they were hitting shots at a high rate. Then they turned the ball over in the last 5 minutes, and it turned into a different game. And so, you take bits and pieces from each game, and you try to build your own game plan with your personnel and the way we play. And so, I just think these games for them early is going to help them late. I think this might be one of their better runs they will have. In March, because of the things that are happening now. They're having different guys step up. So when those moments come, I think they'll be prepared and ready. And I know as a Gonzaga fan and living out here, oh my God, we're not beating such and such by 20. The world's kind of know this is actually sometimes a good thing. And so they're figuring ways out to win. And so that means you're just becoming a better team. And so and they're having probably that crazy belief. You know what that feels like. We're going to win, and that belief right there could take you a long ways. So I think they'll be tougher for it. But yeah, we take bits and pieces from each play and, any team and say, oh, this hurt them, this didn't hurt them, moving this guy, different things. Can we double at this situation? How do we guard it? So you look at it and you watch, you go out there with your best game plan and you try to execute it and hope it works. And then, at halftime, you throw everything against the wall and say, hey, let's try this now because all that stuff didn't work. So sometimes, you just gotta figure it out. But I do like what some of the teams did. But like you said, man, those guys stepped up and hit some big time shots.
Well, Coach, I appreciate the time. Best of luck tonight at the McCarthy Athletic Center, but more importantly, best of luck the rest of the season. Always good to connect.
Man, yeah, for sure. I really appreciate it. I like being on this thing. Sometimes it lets you know who you're playing next. It gets this now. You start getting nervous for the game, man. Now it's like, all right, here we go. It's game time. But I appreciate it. Happy New Year to you and yours, man. Thank you.